Hello, good evening, and welcome to TC Network. I am Tingney Tim Hokip, bringing you today's news. Today's top headlines include: students of Technopol and Moret Town appeared HSSLC examination amid curfew and chaos. Manipur High Court deletes earlier direction to consider ST status for Meiteis. News in details. Amid the ongoing ethnic violence in Manipur, Higher Secondary School Leaving Certificate HSSLC examinations began on Wednesday. A total of 221 candidates appeared the exam at Moret College Center, out of which 128 belongs to Science stream and 93 belongs to Art stream. The total number of female candidates is 105 and total male candidates is 116. Though the curfew relaxation hours is from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., the movement of students or candidates and teachers engaged in the ongoing HSSLC examination are allowed during curfew hours. Meanwhile, the Zonal Education Officer of the Technopol, So Khulun Baite, had visited the exam centers and inspected the ongoing HSSLC examination. Moret Police and Cookie Students Organizations also kept vigil at the examination centers to prevent any possible unwanted incident.
Exam hi tu hi gyong ama sapian akong visit na hin ki baum ta in around about zaniles homniles gi waljen nin exam pi thein chi ki baum ta thil kha hin ani chan na chun tu ni ama sapian hin tu to routine dungria hi hung chal ha ja hin more ginjat sangin boi la boi ha se wang bin pathinin e beng bin more college principal la ama staff hoju sihan nang jong le KSO hana koi jong le bon chan tunin exam peaceful tan chalha na om thejin je kam min tak kam mo hin nom yong nom den alo ling le ti chu silanga am hoju si dinga people hoju si na kan sing I am so glad to see more than 247 students have given exam here in Moret College. 12 class exam. So I thank God, number one. Number two, I thank government of Manipur, and I thank all the faithful staff, Moret College as well as principal of Moret Higher Secondary. Anyway, I hope it will continue till the end. Thank you.
A bench of the Manipur High Court on February 21 removed a paragraph from its March 2023 judgment that previously directed the state government to consider the inclusion of Meiteis in the scheduled tribes list. As per India Today notice, this judgment from March 2023 reportedly sparked the current ethnic conflict in Manipur as the Meiteis and the tribal Kuki-Zo communities clash over the ST state issue. Following a review petition against the March 2023 ruling, the High Court ordered the removal of paragraph 17.3, which had directed the Manipur government to consider adding Meiteis to the ST list. And now removed paragraph stated that the state government will consider the Meitei or Mitei communities' inclusion in the scheduled tribe list swiftly. The court pointed out that, according to the Supreme Court's decision in state of Maharashtra, vs. Milan and others, courts cannot expand jurisdiction to determine whether a specific case, subcaste, group or part of a tribe or sub-tribe is included in the presidential orders under Articles 341 and 342. The top court noted that Clause 2 of the said article explicitly states that these orders can only be amended or varied by a law made by Parliament. The court arrived at the decision to delete the paragraph after a joint per usual of the procedure laid down by the Center for Inclusion of inclusion in or exclusion from the list of scheduled tribes issued under Article 342 of the Constitution of India in Clause G of the Annual Report 2013-14 of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs and the Constitutional Bench decision in State Maharashtra v. Milan and others. I am satisfied and of the view that the direction given at para number 17.3 of the Honorable Single Judge dated 27/3/2023 passed in WP number 229 of the 2023, which is impunged herein needs to be reviewed as the direction given at para number 17.3 of the Honorable Single Judge is against the observation made in the Constitution Bench of the Honorable Supreme Court. Accordingly, the direction given at para number 17.3 needs to be deleted and is altered accordingly for deletion of the para number 17.3 of the judgment and order dated 27/3/2023 passed in WPC number 229 of 2023. The High Court's order read: The Mizoram NGO Coordination Committee conducted a demonstration today against the implementation of border fencing and the cessation of the free movement regime. The event was overseen by H. Laltiang Lima, the president of Mizo Zirlai Pol, with reporting from Professor Malsom Liana, the secretary of NGOCC and general secretary of Central YMA. Lalma Chuanas, who served as the chairman of NGOCC and president of Central YMA, delivered an address, followed by Ngurmoy, president of MHIP General Headquarters, who expressed gratitude. The NGOCC also passed a resolution in the protest program. NGOCC organized a rally in which the government of India's attempt to leave the free movement regime, FMR, and close the Indo-Myanmar border is not acceptable. NGOCC's efforts to revive the free movement regime and cancel the Indo-Myanmar border fencing are strongly supported. Earlier on Tuesday, February 13, 2024, the NGO Coordination Committee convened a meeting at the Central YMA Committee Room, during which they resolved to stage a protest against the closure of the India-Myanmar border and the discontinuation of the free movement regime. The NGO Coordination Committee comprises various non-governmental organizations, including notable entities like the Central Young Mizo Association, CYMA, Mizo Students Union, Mizo Zirlai Pol, MHIP, Mizo Women's Front, and MUP, Mizo Leaders Association. Nagaland and Mizoram are totally against the fencing of Indian-Myanmar border. The Kuki and Naga people residing beside the border in Manipur also strongly opposes the idea of this border fencing. Manipur CM and Biren Singh, in order to please the central BJP government, had schemed this agenda, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi had supported his idea firmly, though aware of the circumstances and hardship it will bring for the people residing near and across the border. In order to hide their crimes, the Biren government had been finding faults with the Kuki-Zo people. One of their notable crimes which they try to cover up is the Valley-based state police departments such as the IRB, MTPC led the Arambay Tenggals looted their station and camps, where the Arambay Tenggals looted the state force properties estimated to be around 7,000 arms and 7 lakhs ammunition. And why is the central government not raising a vote or not taking up any action against this huge crime of the Meitei terrorists? The Meitei further blamed the Kuki as illegal immigrants, even when there is solid historical record of the Kukis being permanent settlers of the state and indigenous settlers of India. Another blatant lie of the Meiteis is the Kuki trafficking arms and ammunition from Myanmar via Moreh and carrying out black business at Manure. The Meiteis were big black businessmen, and that black business had been carried out in the state mainly by them. They also paid the Kukis to cultivate poppies for them. Now the big men had blamed the entire fault to the voiceless, using them as their scapegoat. Even after so much crisis and troubles in the state, the Meitei police station at Moreh were also caught with huge caches of drugs by the Palin police. There are few cookies from Myanmar who took refuge in Manipur and Mizoram, but they will be sent back once the situation gets better in Myanmar. The Boulder settlers are all tribal, so the center should talk with the tribal bodies and not CM Biren when it comes to Boulder fencing. The Boulder fencing is also supposed to run in the middle of certain villages, since some of the villages are taken up. Since some of the villages takes up both the Indian and Myanmar land based on the geopolitical map. Not only the Mizoram and Nagaland government, but every right-thinking citizens of the states strongly opposes the Boulder fencing. Biren had never made any decision with the tribal settling around the Boulder regarding this matter. If the Boulder fencing continues, the tension that is contained in Manipur can escalate to the neighboring states. The Kuki Students Organization Headquarters General Secretary Thangmoy Haokip made a public announcement regarding the steps taken up by the KSO to uplift education in the state in the midst of the ongoing crisis. KSO General Headquarters is aware of the problem faced by the victim students and also the grassroots level students, and we are carrying out the necessary steps to bring a solution to the educational crisis, he added. Many students had called up in regards to their mark sheets and certificates, and the KSO had decided to take up steps to help them. The students who want to get their certificates are requested to give their personal information as said under name, university or college name, issue mark sheet or certificate, subject, contact number, district name, class, semester or year. You can send the said information to Kammonlal Assistant Educational Secretary, KSO General Headquarters, phone number 700-543-7663. Manghekam Kipgen, Assistant Education Secretary, KSO General Headquarters, phone number 8974-327-823. KSO Kerala had the third executive meeting 2024 yesterday at KSO Kerala Advisor Mohanlal Simte's residence at 4 p.m. where 9 executive members took part. During the meeting, they deliberated on various issues and take certain resolutions. The meeting unanimously decided to organize KSO sports meet between March and May, which they were unable to organize due to ethnic violence in Manipur. For the 6 sports meet, they are to set up teams consisting of 30 to 40 members, and the entry fee will be Rs 5,000. Other resolutions taken during the meeting were to organize KSO Freshers Meet and Foundation Day. As usual, mementos will be given to all the leaders who are to retire from executive. Every member of the organization to refrain from drugs. If anyone is arrested in relation to drug, the KSO Kerala will not intervene in the matter. Students living in relationship within Kerala and facing problem regarding the same, the KSO will not interfere in it. Regarding setting up of school in Manipur's Paikot village, and as notice given by the KSO General Headquarters to city branches, the KSO Kerala decided to extend financial help of Rs 5,000 for the cause. Regarding creating of WhatsApp groups, the KSO Kerala warns all not to create group in the name of state. Without the acknowledgement of KSO Kerala, nobody is permitted to collect donation and the likes of the people. If anyone is found defying the warning, the KSO Kerala will not bear responsibility. Apart from resolutions and decisions taken above, other important decisions were also taken for the well-being and development of the students' organization. NES NGO continues to open their helping hands yesterday for the victims of Manipur conflicts initiated by the Meiteis. NES NGO had handed over relief materials to 5 relief centers. The relief camp they visited include ECA Pailin, ECA Panil, Youth Hostel, Ngaloy Guest House, and Old Gel Mall. The relief materials were sponsored by the well-wishers of the IDPs from Mumbai. 300 bed sheets have been distributed by the organization. They had also distributed jumbo box, water filter, and thermal flasks in the month of December, and 1,125 families benefited from their charity works. NES had also arranged tuition for the IDP students and also handed out dry rations, sanitary napkins, 500 plus blankets, and also sponsored 42 students from medical and technical line. The Central Board of Secondary Education (CBSE) is considering open book examinations (OBE) for students of classes 9 to 12 in line with the recommendations of the new National Curriculum Framework released last year. As per the Indian Express, the board has proposed a pilot run of open books tests in a few schools for English, Mathematics and Science for class 9 and 10, and English, Mathematics and Biology for class 11 and 12 later this year to evaluate time taken by students to complete such tests and stakeholders' response. In an open book exam, students are allowed to carry their notes, textbooks, or other study material and refer to them during the examination. However, OBEs are not necessarily easier than closed book exams. Often they are more challenging. This is because an open book test does not assess a student's memory but her understanding of a subject and ability to analyze or apply concepts. It is not merely jotting down content from a textbook onto the answer script. The Indian Express has learned that the pilot is proposed to be conducted in November to December this year, and based on the experience, the board will decide whether this form of assessment should be adopted across all its schools for class 9 to 12. The pilot will be focused on assessing higher order thinking skills, applications, analysis, critical and creative thinking, and problem-solving abilities. The board is planning to wrap up the design and development of the OBE pilot by June and has decided to consult Delhi University for the same. The DU introduced open books tests despite opposition in August 2020 during the COVID pandemic, which had disrupted the academic calendar. Students had approached Delhi High Court against this move on the ground that it would be discriminatory towards those who do not have access to the internet and infrastructure, the underprivileged and PWD category students, especially the visually challenged. The court later permitted DU to hold the OBE for final year undergraduate and postgraduate students. Regular students were given 3 hours to complete the examination and an additional hour for scanning answer sheets and uploading them, where PWD students got 6 hours for the examination. Ajay Arora, OSD examination at DU, told the Indian Express the first OBE assessment was held in August 2020 and the last one was held in March 2022. DU resumed physical mode completely in January 2022, but the last round of OBE was given as an option for students who joined the varsity in November 2021. We resumed the normal mode of examination thereafter. According to sources, while deliberating the proposal to introduce OBE for CBSE schools, the Curriculum Committee of the board discussed last year the need to develop high-quality textbooks to ensure that students understand and accept this new method of assessment. During the Curriculum Committee meeting, some members also proposed having teachers take the open book exams first to understand the concept and help them develop OBE materials of similar quality to those of the Advanced Placement Examination, an entrance exam for colleges in the United States, setting it as a standard benchmark. Earlier, Israel Minister of National Security Itamar Ben-Gvir called to restrict Palestinians' freedom of movement following a shooting attack on a highway near the Mali Adumin settlement in the occupied West Bank. He also said more weapons were being distributed to Israelis following the incident. An extremely large disaster was avoided here, thanks to the police and the armed citizens, he told the press at the scene of the attack. We are distributing more and more guns. I think that today, everyone understands that guns save lives. Ireland has concluded that by its prolonged occupation of Palestinian territory and the settlement activities it has conducted there for more than half a century, Israel has committed serious breaches of a number of peremptory norms of general international law. Ireland's representatives adds that Israel also breached the basic rules of international humanitarian law, including the right to self-determination of the Palestinian people and the prohibition of acquisition of territory by force. China very well listened to what the United States had to say a day earlier. Its representatives basically countered all the arguments that the U.S. brought forward. The U.S. said the UN and the ICJ should stay out of a bilateral issue between Israel and Palestine. According to China, it was definitely a matter for the UN to talk about the self-determination of the Palestinian people. And also the argument the US made, Israel's right to self-defense, and that's why the occupation has to continue. The Chinese representative said Israel is a foreign nation occupying Palestine, so the right to self-defense lies more with the Palestinians than with the Israelis. China said it is actually very important to have the advisory opinion coming from the world's highest court because it will guide any further negotiations. The defining feature of Israel's occupation of Palestinian territory in the occupied West Bank, including East Jerusalem, Ireland's representatives at the ICJ says has been continuous settlement activity. Israel had used different means to take and exercise control for non-military purposes over as much Palestinian land as possible, fanning states. Once in control, Israel has undertaken permanent construction on this land, in particular developing or encouraging the development of permanent settlements onto which it has incentivized large number of its own citizens to transfer. Through its action, Israel has fundamentally altered the demographics of the West Bank, he says. That is all for today's news, and have a pleasant evening ahead.